What's up, YouTube? It's your girl Latrina, and I am back again today with another tarot spread read. And starting off in our first row, we do have the um, the Vampire card, and we also have the coming out with the Knight of Cups with the Vampire, very first card. And then we also have the Hermit in the reverse coming out in the first row with the message that says the story is only half told when one side tells it. Iceland. And we got this pampered vampire here coming out as the Knight of Cups. And then on the reverse, we got the bad health. This pampered vampire is in some form of bad health. You do got the bad health card coming out. For this vampire, Knight of Cups, and there's some kind of element of a story that is only being half told by this vampire. And there's a hermit card that did come out in the reverse, and you know that hermit, it speaks of isolation, and maybe this read has some elements to do with somebody not being in isolation, because that card did come out in the reverse, or they may be coming out of isolation. Or maybe they are in isolation, due to their bad health. Because in our second row, we do have coming out as the High Priestess, coming out in the second row. And then we also have the message of the Six of Pentacles, which is that breadcrumb card, which is the card of equal give and take in the traditional tarot. And when you see this card coming out in the reverse, it does speak of, no equal give and take. Because it says, the broad-minded see truth in different religions. The narrow-minded see only difference. Posaks. And then, this false person is the message on the very back. The last card that came out in the second row is this false person in the reverse. Maybe, this false person is a fake high priestess, because we do have that also coming out in the reverse. And, maybe she's actually involved in some sort of religious group, or, some sort of religious organization, because it says that, there's truth in different religions. Broad-minded people can see the truth, and the narrow-minded see only difference. So maybe, this person, this high priestess, is definitely a narrow-minded individual and a false person coming out. And then next we do have the Ace of Pentacles coming out in the third row, the very first card, speaking about a real deal. And it says, hope is a good breakfast but a bad supper card coming out there. The loss prevention card comes out. So usually when you're dealing with loss prevention, that's some sort of inventory with this Ace of Pentacles. And then on the back, we have a marriage in the reverse with a false person, a fake high priestess, because this high priestess comes out in the reverse here in this second row. And she's hoping for breakfast, but she can't even hope for supper. Maybe there's been some type of a loss on her team, that's left somebody feeling like they're out in the cold with this Five of Pentacles, as well as the Ace of Pentacles, and that's dealing with money. And that's dealing with, finances and resources. Whenever you see the Ace of Pentacles and the Five of Pentacles, meaning someone feeling left out in the cold, probably by this false person and this fake high priestess. Maybe they have put their hope in, some sort of belief in this false person. Or maybe, they broke up. It's a breakup, an end to a marriage, a divorce, a breakup, or a separation. When you see that card in the reverse, that marriage card, and something was a real deal, hope is a good breakfast. This third row had a real deal involved in it. And then moving on to our fourth row, we have the Nine of Pentacles coming out in the reverse, which speaks of single and self-sufficient. And the message on top of that Nine of Pentacles is the resentment message card or message. And it looks like someone has gotten caught up in the hangman position, just completely hung themselves. Maybe, regarding it says a genius is 1% inspiration and 99% perspiration. And it's got the mirror card on it. So maybe something has been mirrored back to a particular individual that has gotten them caught up in the hangman position. And it is regarding adjudication that's gotten this person caught up in the hangman position. It's dealing with something in the courthouse. It is a legal matter that has this person feeling, resentment about this Nine of Pentacles. Hangman, and they hung themselves up in the court. Somebody got themselves hung up in the court, and it's gotten them feeling like they're left out in the cold, and even a hangman. And maybe they applied too much effort to this. They worked really hard on something enough, so much that they, that landed them in bad health. This vampire worked on something, and it was a story that he possibly worked upon, and it's got that Hermit in the reverse. Maybe, there's somebody that may be coming out of a bad health situation with that Hermit in the reverse, because that usually means, that you're not isolated or alone. That's the opposite of isolation and alone, is the Hermit in the reverse. Tells me that. And see, we also have the Eight of Pentacles, that comes out in the very last row. And the Eight of Pentacles speaks of what somebody harvested. It's like a crop. They harvested, and then you see this red rum for hire, which, in the reverse, what that says is pretty much murder for hire. And then to confirm that red rum for hire, we got the Seven of Swords coming out, which does show a depiction of someone getting unalived and murdered. Someone that was harmed and injured to the point of no return. and there's a gun on the nightstand. But see, you can also see that there's someone sneaking out that door. That someone may have been responsible for this red rum. Someone was responsible sneaking out that back door. They worked upon it. This was this was a part of a harvest, because it says, if you find you're in a hole, stop digging. That's what this card says. It comes out in the last row, right with that red rum for hire. And then, maybe they dug a hole for themselves. They worked on something that was regarding an unexpected income. The very last card in the tarot spread, they dug themselves a hole. They got themselves caught up in a hangman position, which is practically a noose. They got themselves strung up in a noose. Like, it's almost like maybe a suit. Someone got themselves, they worked on something and they didn't get any type of return on their investment. They didn't get no unexpected income. Or maybe no, they did not get any unexpected income for this murder for hire. This red rum for hire did not bring them the income that they was expecting. This vampire here. Instead, it looks like they got bad health out of that situation is what brought them. And then, adjudication, which is the courthouse, adjudication, and then that Nine of Pentacles. And, showing that this person is in a resentful mode, because of maybe somebody is single and self-sufficient. It's caused them resentment. Whatever adjudication that came down in this court, and it did not go in their favor, because this adjudication card is, or adjudication, not adjudication, adjudication card, it came out in the reverse. And, also this out in the cold. Hangman, that's not, somebody's in resentment about this courthouse is what caught them up in a noose. This court and this judge is what got them feeling like they're in a noose. Because of a marriage that ended up actually a divorce, or either it's a false marriage. When you see it coming out in the reverse, it could be explaining a divorce, a breakup, or even a false marriage with this real deal. And I'm thinking that it may be a false marriage when I see that real deal and that Ace of Pentacles there. And they had hope in this. They had hope in this relationship would be the real deal. But it turned out to leave them out in the cold. This relationship has left them out in the cold with this Five of Pentacles. They hoped, but it turned into a bad supper. Whatever they was hoping to attain with this real deal, but a fake marriage. A real deal, but a fake marriage. And then somebody's, they was angry and resentful about this adjudication from a judge regarding some unexpected income. Because, see, this person is practicing vampirism. That means he sucks off of other people's energy, their resources, and their time. And they only tell half of the story. Whoever this person is has only told this court half of the story. Only half of it was told. Someone doesn't have a pulse, because we got this pulse ox card. And I know that if you in the medical field, you know that a pulse ox reads your vital signs. You know, you put it on your finger and it tells you everything about your heart rate, your breathing, you know, your blood pressure, and, you know, things that are pertaining to your life. You know, those are what the first responders usually put on a person, you know, when they're actually in bad health. They do test their pulse ox very often. You know, they get this, you know, reading from their finger. And the broad-minded see truth in different religions, and the narrow-minded see only difference. And then we have this no equal give and take, which we go from the Five of Pentacles. Where did I see that five out in the cold at? Right here. Well, we have both. We got the Five and the Six of Pentacles here. Because the Six of Pentacles, you know, it does speak of breadcrumbing, but maybe they were overextending themselves to this group. Because when it comes out in the reverse, they was giving everything that they had to this particular situation. And then it confirms it with this Eight of Pentacles down here. You know, the person that worked very, very hard and fervently or fervently on a particular issue regarding this adjudication in this courthouse. And maybe, you know, this vampire is in need of something, you know, because he worked on something that didn't give him any return. Because that Eight of Pentacles is speaking of a crop. It's a man that is actually examining, you know, his crop, what he got from it, what was harvested from the season, you know, last year, was harvested for the season. And it's nothing, you know, because it comes out in the reverse. So there was really literally nothing that was harvested, this unexpected income. It didn't even come through because we got this Five of Pentacles, which means they was left out in the cold by a false person. This situation of them robbing and sucking blood from other individuals, it left them in bad health. And you know, whatever stories that they was telling halfway telling stories which is half truth, you know, then it left them out in the cold. It left them in bad health, and it left them stuck with this false person here also. You know, where there's no equal give and take in the situation that they're in. It is a false marriage too that we're dealing with. You know, because we see this come out here in the reverse, and it's not speaking of a breakup. It's talking about a false person, and that they got caught. They got caught and stuck and hung up with this false person. You know, because this hangman does confirm that this person, this individual, got caught and stuck and trapped with a false person that had filled their head full of hope, you know, possibly about this investment that they did put into this situation. It left them in bad health with no unexpected income and involving a court. It involves the court. But see, this is the part. It says, "The Lord is my strength and shield. I trust him with all my heart." So